कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना
What happened to that?
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare की श्री प्रभुपाद की गुरुदेव महाराज की जय गौर प्रेमानंद। Hare Krishna. Are you able to hear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. It's clear, no? Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, तो माइक दूर रख के थोड़ा बात कीजिएगा, इट इज इकोइंग।
माइक क्या माइक दूर?
थोड़ा सा माइक दूर रखिए और लैपटॉप पास में रखिए।
Okay. Better now?
Yes, bro, better.
See, sound, yeah, sound maximum 1 minute. Rachaka Prabhu, Haribol, are you able to hear clear now?
Yes, Prabhuji, clear, very clear, very good.
You all are able to hear? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. The slides are not able to see. The slide is getting cut. Hare Krishna. So today we are going to talk about Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi of Prabhupada. How Srila Prabhupada was Vyavasayatmika Buddhi personified. So you all must be knowing who is Srila Prabhupada. So, but we don't know actually who is Srila Prabhupada. So by coming to ISKCON, we know, we see Srila Prabhupada and we see his Murti and we see, oh, we know, somebody tells us, oh, he is the person who started ISKCON. But we actually don't know what is the glories of Srila Prabhupada. So today we will be talking for some time, for about an hour, on Vyavasayatmika Buddhi personified. How Srila Prabhupada lived a whole life in the service of God and humanity. So it is said long, long ago, at the dawn of time, the Lord created the material universes with all the planets and living beings. So people think that why did I come in this world? You will think कि मैं इधर life में आया हूँ, मेरे life का कुछ purpose होगा. There must be some meaning to my life. Why was I born here? Why am I living? So we have to understand that there is some purpose. And what is the purpose? Because we wanted to desire. We desired to come into this material world in order to create it. Because what happens? The obedient inhabitants of the spiritual world happily continue their loving relationship with Krishna. Those who obey Krishna's laws and are in sync with Krishna and Vishnu, they are in the spiritual world. They don't come here in the material world. And people who rebel against the Lord and his spiritual laws, they must enter the material realm in various material bodies. So basically, the problem is in us. We have to first realize problem is not in anybody else. Problem is in us, because we have accepted the very fact that we have accepted his body means that there is a problem in us. Like for example, you are put in a jail, and then you think that why am I in a jail? Some problem you must have done. The very fact you are in the jail means that you must have done some problem. Otherwise, nobody will put you in jail. So material world is compared to a jail. Or material world is also compared to an ocean. Material world compared to the ocean. Ocean is such a big ocean that actually it is very difficult to get out of it. Even if you are the best of swimmers, you swim routinely the Park Strait and all the British Channel and everything. Still, when can you swim the Atlantic Ocean? Can you swim the Pacific Ocean? It is not possible. Similarly, the Bhavasagar, the material ocean, is so huge and it is not possible to come out of it. And the third example given for this material world is forest fire. Recently, there were many forest fires in Australia and so many other places. And when there is a forest fire, then it is not possible. Whatever fire extinguisher and everything we have, whatever advanced equipments we have, we just have to run away from the forest fire. And with a lot and lots of efforts, finally we have to only pray that somehow the forest fire will stop. Similarly, samsara davanala leader hota hai. So the material world is compared to the ocean, a forest fire, and a jail. So when you are in the jail, you can't say, "Arey, बाकी लोग मेरे साथ बराबर व्यवहार क्यों नहीं कर रहे?" Because jail है ये. This is a jail. You can't expect people to be nice to you, nice and good to you. So we are forced to enter this material realm in various material bodies. And then what happens? The Vedas, the words of God, are kindly provided to us in the form of Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Especially the Shastras, they are all provided. But somebody has to explain it to us. And previously, what used to happen? Vedic wisdom had been passed by oral reception from generation to generation by topmost saints and great ascetics. So previously, people were Shrutidhar. They were called as Shrutidhar. Once they used to go to the Guru, and Guru used to tell them, lifelong they will remember. Whatever the Guru tells, lifelong they will remember. They will not forget even a single word what the Guru has spoken. But for us, we can imagine that so many times you have to learn some subject before going to the exam. You have to again revise and revise. Still, we forget half of the things. So here, if it was only Shrutidhar in Kali Yuga, people would have forgotten what was told, and it would have been like Chinese whispers. People are whispering something in the ear in the first person, and the 10th person tells something different to the last person. But that's why the Guru Parampara is important. From the Parampara, these spiritual teachings, which are important for us to get out of this jail, is very important. That has been handed over from Parampara. And that is called Parampara. It is timeless Vedic wisdom from eternity. And Lord Krishna himself has created a chain of spiritual masters who passed it down to our hands. And Srila Prabhupada, Abhayacharanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, is one of them. He is outstanding amongst them. He has got his great spiritual acumen, compassion, knowledge, and determination. He was predicted thousands of years ago. Now, do you know that? Srila Prabhupada was going to appear on this planet. And whenever these great personalities like Jesus, Muhammad, everybody appear, they are already predicted in the scriptures. It is not that they suddenly appear. It is already predicted. So if you see Brahma Vaivarta Puran, there is Lord Krishna describes, after 5,000 years of Kali Yuga have passed, a great sage and worshipper of Krishna's holy names will come. And he will spread Mahamantra throughout the whole world. So there is one in ISKCON, there is Srila Bhakti Vijnana Goswami Swami Maharaj. So he was telling a story one time that there was one South Indian Brahmin, a South Indian Smarta Brahmin. And what he was doing, he was he didn't like ISKCON. He said, why only ISKCON? Why this Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram? There is so many other sampradayas. There is 3 other bona fide sampradayas. So why is it that ISKCON is preaching worldwide and they are becoming famous? And people say, come to ISKCON, come become Hare Krishna, surrender to ISKCON, and we will go back to Godhead. So he wanted to find out some Shastric evidence against ISKCON. To find out some evidence to show that ISKCON is not bona fide and ISKCON is of no use. So as he was researching, he came around this Brahma Vyavasayatmika Purana, and there he found out a story. And what is the story? That the story was that all the rivers, when Lord Krishna left to back to the spiritual world after the Dwapar Yuga, that time all the rivers, Ganga, Jamuna, Saraswati, everybody went to Lord Krishna, and they said that, oh Lord Krishna, now the Kali Yuga has come. Now who will give us shelter? You take us along with us. You take us along with you. So they said, no, we remain here, no problem. Even though they were scared that if everybody in Kali Yuga will bathe in us, they go to the Ganga and bathe in her and leave all the sins in the Ganga, and Ganga will become polluted. So Ganga Devi, Saraswati, everybody went and prayed to Krishna. So Krishna told, don't worry. 5,000 years, wait for 5,000 years. It is a small time for you. After 5,000 years, my great devotee will appear on this earth. And he will be known as, he called it as Mantra Upasaka. And he will be such a Mantra Upasaka. He will chant the holy name of Lord Krishna himself, and he'll make the whole world chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And what he will do? He will make the entire world as Hari Bhaktas. He will convert the entire the world as Hari Bhakta. And we have seen, practically it is happening. It has already happened, and it is happening more and more. In Sri Chaitanya Mangal, Lochandas Thakur also says the same thing. Or if you see the Nectarian Ocean of the Holy Name by Sachinandan Swami Maharaj, he also tells this story. But one time, Narad Muni went to Vrindavan and he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu over there was being served by Radharani also and Rukmini also and all the other queens in Dwarka. So when they were being served, so Narad Muni was in anxiety and he was saying, Mahaprabhu, what will happen to this Kali Yuga? Now, after you leave this world also, what will happen? Who will come? Who will take care of the people in Kali Yuga? People don't know. Because Kali Yuga is an iron age of Kali, where it's said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prayan Alpayusha Sabhya Kalau Asmin Yuge Jana Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Hi Upadritaha. Means we think that we think we are in Kali Yuga, we are wise, but actually we are otherwise. We think we are smart, but we are a little over smart. So the Prayana Alpayusha Sabhya means Kali Yuga, people will be Alpayusha, very short lives they will live. It is said that Kali Yuga will live for 100 years. But actually, how many people you have seen to live living for 100 years? People never know. When we will pass away from this world, and after the COVID, now people are even more scared. So you know when my last moment will come. So that's why we are taking vaccines, about trying to protect ourselves. So Prayana Alpayusha Sabhya Kalau Asmin Yuge Jana Manda Sumanda Matayo. They are Manda, they are less intelligent. They forget. If I ask you 1 week back, what did you have at Prasad? 1 week back, yesterday also I forgot what I had. So I don't remember. 1 week back, what did I tell you? What 10 years back, what you did? Forget about it. We don't remember. Manda Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagya Hi Upadrita. Even though somebody is very intelligent, but Manda Bhagya, he is not fortunate. Like I am a doctor. I know so many doctors who spend their entire lives studying. I am an eye doctor. If you go to conferences, I am going down at the end of this month to Russia. So we will see so many doctors throughout the world will come, and the whole 5 days they will discuss what about the small organ called eye. And the eye, and finally they don't have any spiritual vision. They will only talk about Charma Chakshu, not Shastra Chakshu. Manda Subanda Matyo, Manda Bhagya Hi Upadrita. And after all, they are quarrelsome and always disturbed. That's why Mahaprabhu told to Radharani and the Rukmini Devi that one of my Bhakta will come and he will be called as Senapati Bhakta. That he will create a Sena of Bhaktas and he will be the Senapati. And who is the Senapati? Srila Prabhupada, none other than Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So even actually after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vaishnavism actually people had forgotten. In between, in the course of time, Vaishnavism was forgotten. So who will revive? Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a big court judge. Even if you go to Mayapur, you can see his house, Swananda Sukhada Kunja, and how the Britishers that time made a special train in front of his house. The train used to go a special train in front of his house because other judges used to solve maybe 2-3 cases in a day, and he used to solve around 50 cases in a day. So the British people wanted him to be a judge. So the great Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he predicted in his magazine, Sajjan Toshani, that soon there will be a time when the chanting of Krishna's name will be heard in England, France, Russia, Germany, and America. Because one time they used to say that Bharat Bhumite Janma Halayar, Janma Sarthaka Karib Kara Paraupkar. Every person who is born in the land of Bharatvarsha has to make his life perfect and give Krishna consciousness to others. Or there is another saying by Prithvite Ache Nagaradigram, Sarvatra Prachar Hoiva Moradam. That Mahaprabhu has said. So Prithvite Ache Nagaradigram. Actually, is it Prithvite Ati? Maybe even when Prabhupada was there, when Prabhupada had rented a house in Sitanath Lane, in the first floor, all the brahmacharis and sannyasis used to come and they used to discuss about Namamrita Vyakaran and everything, and all spiritual books. And that time, one Shastri was giving a lecture, and then Srila Prabhupada was chanting on the staircase. Prabhupada was chanting, and then this Shastri, he came down and told Prabhupada, just now I gave a lecture about this the Lord Krishna's holy name will be spread in every town and village in the world. But he said, is it possible? So Srila Prabhupada replied, it is possible, definitely possible. But there will be one fool who will come and he will do it. And then Prabhupada started walking away. And then he said, who will do it actually? So Prabhupada said, not you. It is not, you are not going to do it. So Prabhupada said, so the Shastri was thinking, he's thinking over smart. He's a Abhacharan Swami, Abhacharan. That time he was Abhacharan, he was Grihastha. Will he do it? He's saying, I will not be able to do it. Will he be able to do it? So then, but it is predicted. Then in answer to this, then in the year of 1896, there appeared Abhacharan Day. Later, who was known as His Divine Grace Abhacharanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In Calcutta, 1896, Prabhupada appeared. And as soon as he was born, an astrologer predicted that at the age of 70, this man will cross the 7 seas and he will go and spread Krishna consciousness throughout the whole world and establish 108 temples. That was the prediction at Prabhupada's birth itself. And we'll see, as Prabhupada grew, the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi grew. So in the Bhagavad Gita 2.41, it is talked about the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Krishna tells Arjuna, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Ekeha Kuru Nandana Bahushaka hi Anantascha Buddhayo Vyavasayinam. So Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Vyavasaya means business. For example, if you want to do your job, if you tell your boss, after 4-5 days I will come to job. Sometimes I will come. When I am in the mood, I will come to job. Will it be okay? You can tell like that. Your job, you can tell him. Tomorrow you go and tell your office that when I am in the mood to come to office, I will come. Otherwise, I will live my own life. So there will be no, hardly any, after some days you will see that you are back in India. Your job is gone. So Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, like we are taking care of our Vyavasaya, we have to take care of Krishna consciousness. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, Ekeha Kurunandana. We have to be one pointed in our determination. Prabhupada's determination was one pointed from the beginning. From since birth, since the astrologer told, Prabhupada knew what he was supposed to do in life. But sometimes the spark of the fire is less. And then the Guru comes and he like blows it little and he fans it little and it becomes a huge bonfire. So Prabhupada, even in his childhood, he was focused. Prabhupada was always focused. Those who are not focused, they cannot achieve anything in life. So as you see in Prabhupada's childhood, he would organize little festivals in his neighborhood. When Rath Yatra came, Prabhupada was always the leader and there was no card. And somehow they organized, one person gave the card and Prabhupada organized a Rath Yatra festival when he was very small, for 5-6 years old. And then not only he organized the Rath Yatra, he organized the puja, he organized the prasadam, he organized who will lead Sankirtan. So since that time, he was planning and organizing everything. That's how Prabhupada was. Even though in his childhood, he was the leader. Later, Prabhupada attended Scottish Church College in Calcutta, which was administered by the British. So, but he was to protest. That's why he was in Gandhi's movement. He was inspired by Gandhi. So to protest, basically, he did not accept the degree because he said, I want to protest against the British. I don't want all this. And then later, the friend of his the father, Dr. Bose, made him manager of his chemical company. So actually, there was two predictions about Prabhupada. Either Prabhupada will become a very, very big multi-millionaire businessman, or he will become a very great sannyasi. So either multi-millionaire businessman or great sannyasi. So Prabhupada's mother wanted him to become a big businessman, but Prabhupada's father wanted him to become a devotee. So Gaur Mohan Dev, Prabhupada's father, wanted always his son to learn Mridanga, to learn Kartal, and to become a devotee of Lord Krishna. So that's why he encouraged Prabhupada every time. So there is so many stories in detail, but we have only half an hour, 45 minutes, so we'll do it in short. So Prabhupada finally got married and he started a family. But in 1922, Prabhupada met his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This cannot go. Stop. Okay, you are able to see? You are able to see the slide, huh? Okay. So because upper part of the slide is getting cut now. Yeah. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in 1922, in Ultadanga Junction Road in Calcutta, there was a meeting organized of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And his Prabhupada actually didn't want to go because Prabhupada, right from childhood, his father used to call at least 5 people in his house, and after giving them prasad only, they used to honor prasad. And that was a culture actually. So then Prabhupada said that bachpan se maine bahut aise logon ko dekha hai, and so many of them are dhongis, so I don't want to go to this. So Prabhupada's friend, Abhacharan's friend, he took him. No, you come. There is some sannyasi who has come, and he is not like the other sannyasis. You come. And as soon as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati saw Srila Prabhupada, he said, "You are a nice young man, and you know English also. So therefore, you should preach this mission of Lord to English-speaking countries in the Western world." So on the first meeting, it is not like after a few meetings and then talking with Prabhupada, everything. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in the first meeting itself, gave him his life's mission. And Prabhupada, it is said that Vaishnava Chakravarti Thakur, who just prayed to Prabhupada, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Kariya. So whatever Guru says one time, you have to always remember in your heart of heart. Maybe you may not be able to do it immediately, but you should follow. You should never get discouraged and follow it one time. Try to follow. In 1933, Prabhupada took formal initiation from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and accepted him as his spiritual master. In 1935, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told him to print as many books as possible and to distribute them throughout the world. You might not be knowing about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. We don't have time today, but in short, I will tell you. Siddhanta Saraswati it is actually indescribable, his glories. When he was childhood, when he was in school, his teachers used to call him that he is Vishnu himself, because he didn't have to study. Whatever he heard, he was a Shrutidhar. It is said the previous I was saying, Vedas are apaurushaya, they come by parampara. But Vyasdev had to write down, because now we are Mandasubandha Madhya. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was Shrutidhar. He used to once listen, he used to memorize. Whatever he wrote, Surya Siddhanta he wrote, even now it is practiced in astrology and astronomy. The Surya Siddhanta Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. His vocabulary, Shakespeare's vocabulary was 20,000 words, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was 40,000 words. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was a class apart. His Brahma Samhita also, if you read now, you will understand in that his English is beyond our reach sometimes. So Siddhanta Saraswati already established 64 Gaudiya Mathas throughout India, and he wanted Mahaprabhu's mission to gradually spread throughout the whole world. But what happened? And when he saw that a big temple in Calcutta, somebody donated money, and the temple was made by marble and everything was made, and people were fighting, that even the brahmacharis and sannyasis were fighting. I want to stay in this room. I want to stay in that room because marble floor room. I want to stay in the marble floor room. So then he thought that I established this temple for preaching or for staying for you to stay in the marble room. So that's why he told Prabhupada that you take out all this marble and sell it. We are not here to stay in the marble floored room. We are here for preaching Krishna consciousness. So whenever you get money, he said to Prabhupada, you print books and distribute them throughout the world. So these two orders. First is to preach Krishna consciousness throughout the world, and the second order is to distribute books. So in Prabhupada later, he started Back to Godhead magazine in 1944. So you must have heard about this magazine. So Back to Godhead. So even now also we urge that we all subscribe to the magazine. And because Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to say, he reasons ill who says that Vaishnavas die, while thou art living still in sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and living spread the holy name around. So ऐसा नहीं है कि प्रभुपाद थे, प्रभुपाद चले गए, एक जमाने में प्रभुपाद थे और चले गए, ऐसा नहीं है. प्रभुपाद अभी भी है और रहेंगे, और प्रभुपाद के books are the law books for the next 10,000 years. You might have heard this. Prabhupada's books are supposed to be the law books for the next 10,000 years. And now it is only 500 years have passed. So 9,500 years of the Satyuga and Kali Yuga is remaining, is there, is going on. And we are actually in the Satyuga, the golden age of the Kali Yuga. So Prabhupada, see Prabhupada's Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. He wrote the Back to Godhead, he printed the Back to Godhead, he went to the town on the bus to distribute the Back to Godhead. He never stopped. And one time it was very hot. One time in Delhi, when he was distributing, it was very hot. And the hot sun, he got a sunstroke. And Prabhupada fell down on the ground. And still he got up and he started distributing. One time one bull came and hit Prabhupada, and Prabhupada fell down on the ground. He was alone, but he never stopped. So that's why we have to be grateful to him. So in 1955, he started League of Devotees. So League of Devotees is a small organization of Krishna conscious people. It was the forerunner of ISKCON. So in Jhansi, Prabhupada went to preach in Jhansi. So Jhansi, it was he started in his mission, and he started the League of Devotees. And then slowly he started preaching and distributing books and everything. And then Lady Mountbatten came. You must have heard about Lord Mountbatten. His wife came. And wife said that, no, I want to make a kitty party here. I want to make a kitty party. I don't want these devotees to be here. And she drove away the devotees. So the League of Devotees, it's such an effort. Prabhupada started the League of Devotees, and finally that had to be dissolved. But Prabhupada didn't stop. In 1959, Prabhupada actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to come in the dreams of Prabhupada, and he should tell him that now you renounce this world. Your purpose is to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. It is not that we think about our family, our life, our society. But Prabhupada has had a broader vision to preach Krishna consciousness throughout the whole world. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to come in his dreams. And one time Prabhupada was deciding what to do now, whether should I take sannyas or not. And Bhaktisiddhanta told him, no, you have to take sannyas. And one time in his life also it happened that one time he had written Bhagavad Gita manuscripts. That time there was no typing, he had written down. And he came home in the evening and he saw that he asked his wife, where is the Bhagavad Gita manuscript? And she said that, oh, I had sold it. And he sold it for what? To buy tea. To tea and biscuits, tea biscuits. So Prabhupada told her, tea or me? You decide now. You tea or me? So she said tea. So he said, okay, no, I cannot live here anymore. Then Prabhupada took sannyas. So because basically people don't realize, the efforts what people have made, which actually are not required to do. Like Prabhupada Prabhupada accepted sannyas in Mathura, and then to execute the order of spiritual master and to preach and write in the English language. Then we can visit Radha Damodar temple. This is a room in Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, the land of Krishna's birth. So there, Prabhupada was there, and he lived there, and there is a small room there, and we all can visit. He hardly had any money over there. He was eating. He didn't have any money to even eat also. So he was eating every other day. He continued writing and distributing back to Godhead magazine. And just Radha Damodar temple is located just opposite the Ras Leela Sali of Krishna. So a senior person, about 69, 70 years old, living in Vrindavan, people what they do, they live their life everywhere else, and finally they retire and go to Vrindavan to leave their body. Prabhupada was in Vrindavan and he was planning to go throughout the world. That's how the greatness of Prabhupada is. People go to America and try to earn money for themselves, or try to get education and earn money. Prabhupada went to America to teach them, teach the people. So Prabhupada is totally opposite of what we do in life. So though he was penniless, he continued writing and distributing back to Godhead magazine. And then from 1959 to 65, he translated the multi-volume Srimad Bhagavatam. Previously, if you know that previously people like I said about the Vedas, so we didn't have any copies of the Vedas. People were handwritten manuscripts, and we had to travel long distances. That also one guru somewhere had his manuscript in the temple, and you have to attend his lectures. So it is not possible to get these books. But because of Prabhupada, now Bhagavatam is readily available in our homes. Whenever we want, ready reference is there. And that is just because of the dedication of Srila Prabhupada. And then there was lack of funds. He somehow arranged funds and he organized the first 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam. And armed with this, Prabhupada felt ready to finally carry out the instructions of his spiritual master. That he had given him 40 years earlier. So like I said, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, Chittete Kariya. So Prabhupada, 1922, the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj gave him instructions. And Prabhupada, in almost 65, he was ready to now travel to America. And he went to Srimati Murarji in Bombay. And she was the head of Sindhya Steamship Company. And she had so many ships. Usually they were cargo ships. So she said, Prabhupada, she used to consider Prabhupada like her father. So she said, Maharaj, Swami, Maharaj, you are old. America is very, very cold. And you will die over there. There is no chance. And who will listen to you? Nobody is interested over there to listen to God consciousness. They are busy in their own life. But Prabhupada, the whole day and night, he sat outside her house and showing his determination to her. And then she consented. Okay, if you so wish, then okay, I will give you permission. And she gave him the passage via the ship of Jalduta. And in Jalduta itself, Prabhupada suffered 2 heart attacks, 2 severe heart attacks. We can understand, even if 1 heart attack we get, a minor heart attack also, our whole life gets shaken. On the ship, when there was nobody to take care of him, he was alone and he suffered 2 heart attacks. And despite heart attacks, he tolerated the pain somehow because he was Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. He knew why his guru had ordered, and Krishna was in charge. So Krishna actually took charge of the Jalduta. And then the captain of the ship says that the whole Atlantic Ocean became like a pool of like a quiet lake, which was never before heard. Like Atlantic Ocean was so violent every time, but then the whole Atlantic Ocean became like a small lake. And then Prabhupada went to USA, and with only 40 rupees, $8, pair of kartal and small trunk of which had the Bhagavatam and some copies of Bhagavad Gita. And then he was thinking that what can I do? What I have to preach now, because my Guru Maharaj has told, let me do it in New York City, which is the biggest of all the cities in the world. And somehow he maintained himself by selling books here and there and staying with some persons. And this is the famous Tompkins Square Park. He went to Tompkins Square Park, and this is the tree called Hare Krishna tree. Even now, if you visit, you can see that in New York. So there is a under the tree and started praying Kartal. And just imagine how does a man who is old, who doesn't have any money, who doesn't have any followers, who doesn't have any contacts, he just goes to an unknown place like America which is unsuitable to him. And he just, depending on his Guru and Krishna's order, he sits down under a tree and starts doing Hare Krishna Kirtan. And we know Prabhupada's famous Kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this Kirtan Dhun attracted the followers over there. And people were getting attracted like anything. And musicians came. People used to bring their instruments over there. And they all gathered around him. Like people gather around, like bees gather around honey. People gathered around him. And then slowly but surely, with great determination, he tried to do many ambitious things before the time he would die. Just because his spiritual master had ordered him. In the July of 1966, Prabhupada secured a storefront in USA called at 26 2nd Avenue. He began holding Bhagavad Gita classes there at 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. And the store was called none else than Matchless Gifts. So Prabhupada was ready to bestow matchless gifts to the whole entire world. And only 10 months after his arrival to USA, devotees started coming to the Matchless Gifts temple. And then he founded the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in 1966. So people said that why did you do International Society for Krishna Consciousness? Why not God Consciousness? If you would have replaced the word Krishna by God, then a lot of people would have got attracted. But Prabhupada said, no, I will keep the name Krishna because God has a name. And people have to understand what is the name of God. Otherwise, people are always confused. One God, many God, who is God? God knows. Finally, God knows. So that's why the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. Otherwise, International Society for God Consciousness is gone. And somewhere it will be gone also with passage of time. So International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Prabhupada established. And then he never deviated. Every night, Prabhupada used to sleep for hardly 1 or 2 hours, sometimes 3 to 4 hours, and rise early to translate. Night 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, or 11 to 1. Like that, night 11 to 1 he used to sleep, and early morning with his dictaphone, he used to translate. Day in and day out. For the next 11 years, Prabhupada just, in the morning hours, he will have early morning worship and then give lecture. The remainder of the day was devoted to outdoor preaching, managing, teaching the students about Krishna. So guided by Prabhupada, 2 couples went to Hare Krishna temple. He opened the Hare Krishna temple in San Francisco. So basically, when Prabhupada started ISKCON, he immediately named it International Society. There was only a small storefront. But Prabhupada had a vision. Prabhupada knew that Prabhupada had a strong determination. And he knew about that his Guru and Krishna's message will come true. So he immediately labeled International Society. Already knowing that all temples will be there throughout the whole world. Then there is so many people helped him. Like so many, there is the mantra Avalon Ballroom mantra rock dance proceeds were there. They went to the donation of the Hare Krishna temple, and so many other like singers like Alan Ginsberg, Grateful Dead, Moby Gray. So many people helped him, and they also sang, and Prabhupada also sang Hare Krishna mantra over there. So then disciples were going out and opening new branches. And then it spread. Then slowly after New York, San Francisco, Montreal, LA, Detroit, Boston, Philadelphia, everybody it started spreading like wildfire. One time, Prabhupada was in, basically his visa got expired. So they said that now Prabhupada can no longer be. I think I'll talk with 8:45, 8:20. 8:45. We started late. So Prabhupada had to go to Canada, Montreal. So Prabhupada said that now what to do? There is no chance of his visa being done. And then he said that now if I have to stay in Montreal only, we'll change our International Society ISKCON headquarters to Montreal in Canada. And then somehow with Alan Ginsberg, the visa was done. Prabhupada came back and he continued the headquarters in USA. So in 1967, he returned to India and stayed in Radhashtami temple again for a few months. And then later in the 71, he visited throughout India. He traveled. He set up all public programs. Many Indian people joined his spiritual family. So it is called like the white elephants. Now Prabhupada brought white elephants. People like always Indians are always attracted to Westerners. anything Indians basically, even though India has got a great culture, great philosophy, everything, but we are always attracted to what the Americans do. We try to always copy the Americans. So when Prabhupada got these Westerners and white bodies people in India, people were more attracted to the same Krishna consciousness movement which was already there in India. So what are some of Prabhupada's unparalleled achievements? He introduced the names of God into the streets of cities and villages. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra became famous in nearly every corner of the earth. Like wherever we go, for example, I've almost gone to a few countries of the world. When we went to Italy, there is a Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the temple over there. Then we went to anywhere. In Japan, there is a temple over there. I'm going to Russia, there is a temple over there. You go to any place of the world, you can find a ISKCON temple and you can find Prasad and Govindas. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or the word Hare Krishna itself, became famous throughout the world because of Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada gave the positive alternative. Like people didn't know what to do. Even now also people don't know what to do with their life. People are having stress. They even try to commit suicide. So many people. So there, students are in stress. People are doing job are in stress. But actually there is no stress because you have to understand who we are. Like I started the talk saying that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. So we have come to this planet. Our main aim is to go back to Krishna and not suffer over here. So the positive alternative is to read what Krishna told 5,000 years ago and the timeless Vedic literatures. So, so many traveling bus parties went throughout the world, spreading Krishna consciousness, distributing books because of Prabhupada. Then he recorded with the George Harrison, the Beatles, in 1969. He recorded an album, and it became fastest selling of the Apple Corporation's releases that time of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then he gave lectures, like for example in the Conway Hall in 1969, he addressed people in UK, and so many people attended. He formally initiated approximately 5,000 disciples. Initiates were all sorts of. In Prabhupada, there is no Krishna. Krishna Balram ki, Radhashtami Bhagavan ki, Radhashtami ki, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maya ki, Srila Bhagavan ki. So without caste, creed, Prabhupada gave Krishna consciousness to everyone. And he gave so many formal lectures. Over 2,200 were recorded and archived. He conducted so many informal conversations on the science of Krishna consciousness. Over 1,300 are recorded and archived. He conducted morning walks. He preached to so many people the message of Krishna consciousness. And not only to routine people. He, like for example, his disciples like Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Maharaj, he preached to the serious academic people of scientists. He wanted to bring academia to understand the message of spirituality. Because real scientists are those who understand who is God and what is the purpose of life, and not rot in the material world again and again. He did scores of interviews and philosophical discussions with news reporters, scientists, religious leaders and politicians, and so many dignitaries and celebrities. For example, one time in the UK, one news reporter came to him and told him, Swamiji, why all of your disciples' heads are bald? So Prabhupada told him that we prefer to have cool head and warm legs. And the reporter basically was wearing a half skirt and she was having a like long hair and everything. We said, Prabhupada said we want to have a cool head but warm legs. So then another time in Australia, one reporter challenged Prabhupada. What is this, Prabhupada? These sannyasis and swamis are supposed to have a frugal lifestyle and they are supposed to live simply. Why are you traveling around in these Rolls-Royce cars and everything? So Prabhupada told him, what is this Rolls-Royce? It is just a tin can. Actually, the disciples, the devotees of Lord Krishna are supposed to travel in cars which are made of gold. This Rolls-Royce is only a tin can. So the reporter got shaken. So Prabhupada's bit was incomparable. He skillfully managed his international society simply through letters and personal meetings. There was no telephone, there was no internet, there was no emails. Only letters and personal meetings he managed. In order to carry mission in his absence also, he counseled their disciples on complex managerial issues in more than 6,000 archived letters. He wrote letters to so many people and instructing about how to carry about Krishna consciousness. And actually, even when Prabhupada disappeared from this world, he is actually he established BBT, and the proceeds of the BBT, the royalty amount, he made as a pension for his wife. Being a sannyasi usually has no connection with wife. He never met his wife, but for taking care of his wife and children, he made sure that some sort of pension will always go to them. So he was so sensitive. Even while busy in handling a worldwide organization, Prabhupada was sensitive to the demands of his family, the previous family also. And the Rath Yatra festival. We know Rath Yatra because Prabhupada started Rath Yatra. When we experience Rath Yatra in cities like Bahrain or Mumbai, then we know that there is something called Rath Yatra. Then we go to Orissa, or if you are not from Orissa, then we know that there is something called Rath Yatra. So Prabhupada actually brought the temple to the people. He really made Jagannath into Jagannath. Jagannath is actually the Lord of the whole world. But Lord of the whole world was restricted sometimes to India. But Prabhupada actually made Jagannath into the Lord of the entire world. When he went to Moscow, he was lonely. He used the same preaching strategy. He walked alone and he preached over there. Then the world's first chain of vegetarian restaurants. Who started vegetarian restaurants first? Prabhupada, the whole chain. Prabhupada is a pioneer in everything. So Govinda's chain of restaurants is the first worldwide chain of restaurants started by Prabhupada. Then there is Sunday love feast or prasadam distribution. So every Sunday morning, people used to come, and Prabhupada used to give lectures also, and he used to distribute them prasadam. And there is something gulab jam we call it ISKCON bullets. People used to like gulab jam so much that they fell in love with gulab jamun, and they used to come to temple for them. Then he set up farm communities to teach people simple living and high thinking, emphasizing cow protection and dependence on God and nature. So we can go throughout the world. Like we said, last time we went for a Europe trip, we went to Germany. So we saw a nice farm community over there. So they are taking care of the land, they are taking care of cows, they have a goshala. So when we go over there, we see that actually they are Germans. They are Germans and they are local people. They are Swiss and German people. And they are taking the ladies are wearing saris, the men are wearing dhoti kurtas, and they are actually more the Krishna conscious than we also, as Indians also. Then not only that, for children, Prabhupada started Gurukulas. In 1972, Prabhupada established primary and secondary education in the West by founding Gurukul School in Dallas. Then he established similar schools throughout the world to educate people in the principles of devotional service. Then one time in 1974, he saw that how children were fighting with street dogs over the scraps of food. That's why Prabhupada said that 5 or 10 miles around my temple, nobody should go hungry. That's why Hare Krishna Food for Life was started, in which prasadam distribution is going on throughout the world. And in COVID situation, we know that throughout the world, even in Bahrain, people are distributing prasadam to all sorts of people who have required them. So whatever, so lakhs of people have got Annamrita celebration is going on. That homeless, destitute people are getting free food. There is actually, even if you know about Steve Jobs, the founder of the Apple, he also used to go to ISKCON temple for prasadam. So he has mentioned in his this one. And I used to go every weekend, and this concept of free food is not there in the world. Nobody gives anything for free. So he used to go there and have nice prasadam and used to be peaceful in life. So Prabhupada recorded more than 20 albums of devotional music. He established 108 temples on 6 continents, installed the deity of Krishna in each center, and trained disciples in process of deity worship. So we are happy that Prabhupada established temples. But I will tell you a small story about how the Bombay temple was established. So Bombay, there was a big fight because people used to, there was one Mr. N, and he was very politically well connected, and he was not, he initially sold the land to Prabhupada, and then he thought, what is these people are only sannyasis and other people, I have political connections. He had gundas also. So he said that I will take half of the money, then I will not give them the land. And then there was a big fight, and then finally the Mr. N got a heart attack and he actually expired. And Prabhupada took care of He blessed his wife, and his wife became a devotee, and finally Radharashtamika Bihari got a temple. So there was so much hardship actually. And despite this hardship, Prabhupada was so sensitive also. He was so determined. Like what we think when you come to, we think about ISKCON, that we have to be serious, sincere, and hard-hearted. But we should not be hard-hearted. We have to be soft-hearted in the other place. And Juhu itself, when Prabhupada was staying in Juhu, the temple was under construction and renovation. So he had to stay in one person's house. So he stayed over there. And then about 15 days he had to stay. So there was a, what is his name? Say it here. His house, Prabhupada stayed. So his wife was there. He had a daughter called Preeti. And then 2 weeks Prabhupada was there. And after the 2 weeks, when Prabhupada was going to go back to the temple, Prabhupada called all the servants of the house and he gave all of them money. He called his wife, the Prabhu's wife, and he gave them sari and jewelry, and he gave the daughter also the jewelry and sari. So what is the need of the ISKCON sannyasi to do all these things? Sannyasis are not, but just because of the following the etiquette. Prabhupada, he was so very sensitive, along with the hard-working and determined person that he was also so sensitive in his personal dealings. So, but significant contribution of Prabhupada is actually his books. So, books are the basis, Prabhupada said. So, books are, his guru had ordered him. Whenever you get money, you print books. So, books are revered even by scholars by the authority, depth, and clarity. So, we are also actually indebted to Prabhupada for giving the books. We also have to start reading Prabhupada's books, and especially Prabhupada Lilamrit. The whole how we have to feel grateful to Srila Prabhupada. So, he has established BBT. And by 1976 only, about 55 million literatures were published in 25 languages. And the BBT is now the world's largest publisher of spiritual and philosophical texts. And so many people commented, like how Prabhupada is a strict practice of Bhakti Yoga. He is in a succession of gurus which traces back to the Krishna. So somebody said that there is striking similarity between the essence of what they were teaching in ISKCON and original core of Christianity also. It is living simply, trying not to accumulate worldly goods, living with compassion towards all the creatures, and sharing, loving, and living joyfully. So these are all core principles common to all the religions. So all the religions in the world teach the same thing, what Prabhupada taught. So Harvey Cox said that Prabhupada's contribution is very important, it will be lasting one. Because how the teachings of one man transformed the lives of so many millions of people. It is actually a big miracle. And in spite of having such an international spiritual society, somebody would have said that he would have put his name for the society. But Prabhupada is always remained in the background. He always kept a low profile. He lived modestly, he rode on public transport, and he lived simply. Because of his spiritual power and great compassion, he turned actually drug addicts, drunkards, and criminals into virtuous, saintly people who dedicate their lives to spiritual happiness and wisdom in the whole world. Like we see Devananda's movie, Dam Mar Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, you heard, na? Dam Mar Dam, Mit Jayega, Bolo Subha Sham, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. So people are confused. Because of this movie made by Devanand, people got confused in the whole world. But ISKCON people means they will be smoking ganja and doing all sorts of illicit activities. But then when Devanand actually went to USA and saw how the hippies were converted into happies, Devanand came to Prabhupada and said sorry to Prabhupada. He apologized to Prabhupada. And he said, sorry that I made this movie. Now I cannot take the movie back, but I'm sorry that I made this mistake. Because he knew that, he understood that how, because of Prabhupada, the people who were actually hippies, and they are actually very rich people, very sons and daughters of very rich people, but they are misled in life, and they are frustrated that all this happiness, money can't give you actually happiness. So they were frustrated in life, and then that's why they are taken into that uncultured life. But Prabhupada brought them back and made them saints. So actually, our human form of life is actually very, very important. It is, we'll come back. Prabhupada, saints like Srila Prabhupada, they are determined. But what about us? They are determined, and they preach and they go back to God. They came from there, they will go back there. But hum log to idhar hi reh rahe. If we don't understand we don't take benefit, we don't cultivate the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, then we are at a big loss, because getting human body is not an everyday affair. After millions of lifetimes, we get a human birth. 84 lakh species of life, one person has to pass, 8.4 billion species, then a human body is obtained. Sudurlabha Manav Janma. Therefore, if you don't utilize your human life for self-realization, you make the greatest mistake. That Prabhupada says is the greatest tragedy. And unfortunately, today this neglect of the human form has become the standard behavior for the entire human society. It is standard. People, if you go around the world, people forget. Manda Sumanda Madhya, Manda Bhagya Yupadrita. They are so, this here some spirituality, they feel that maybe somebody's Western interest is there. So they want to, they go away, and sometimes they keep names, they will try to find also, they will do all sorts of things, but they will not do devotional service. That is the problem. So even when Prabhupada was leaving his body, when he was utterly incapacitated and fragile, he spent the last particles of his energy translating the ancient Srimad Bhagavatam with a microphone held to his mouth. Even at the end also, when he was leaving his body also, Prabhupada was translating Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada showed how to leave the body also. And now Prabhupada's Pushpa Samadhi Mandir and Samadhi is there in Vrindavan and Mayapur. So to such an outstanding person who circled the globe 14 times and visited every major country to build a house in which the whole world could live peacefully. So Prabhupada actually built a house in which the whole world can actually live peacefully. And now we are celebrating the 125th birth anniversary of Prabhupada. This year 2021, we just celebrated from 1896 to 2021. So, and India has, the Indian government has come out with a rupees 125 coin in honor of Srila Prabhupada for celebrating the 125th anniversary. So we have to, I'll just tell you a small story of Prabhupada's determination before we end. One time in Krishna Balram temple in Vrindavan, the Krishna Balram temple construction was going on, and Prabhupada went there. So Gurudas Prabhu and everybody was there, and they said that the Prabhupada temple is ready, temple is fully ready. And when actually Prabhupada went over there, he saw nothing is ready. Actually nothing was ready, no structure, just temporary some structure was ready. So Prabhupada said, we have advertised now everything, and we have called all dignitaries, and what will show them? This one temple, this temple cannot be opened. He said, this temple cannot be opened. So then he fired people right, left, and center and chastised them because they were obstructing his plan of spreading Krishna consciousness. His Guru's mission they were obstructing. They were not fulfilling it. So then people got afraid and they started working. Then they somehow started building the temple. And then they realized that there was no cement actually. Cement was being rationed by that time. Indira Gandhi's government, it was by ration. So Prabhupada that time then got high fever and he 104 degrees centigrade. And Prabhupada was very, very ill. He got malaria and he got, then he was lying on the bed. And in every day he used to eat only 3 slices of orange. Only orange 3 slices. And 2 weeks passed and the Prabhupada was very, very, very ill. And Prabhupada told his disciples that this is how my spiritual master also left his body. So they were also scared now Prabhupada will leave his body. Then Prabhupada's one of his friend came. His name was Seth Bishanchand. So Bishanchand told Prabhupada that actually Akbar Ali Khan, who was the mayor that time, he had come to UP. And he said that he was there in Vrindavan that time. So Prabhupada immediately realized that, oh, the cement is being rationed and cement is required for building Krishna's temple. And now what? No, so then he said, no, I will meet Akbar Ali Khan. You invite him. So disciples said, Prabhupada, you are on the bed. You cannot even get up. So how do you invite somebody? So he said, no, you invite. And then actually Akbar Ali Khan came. And when Akbar Ali Khan came, Prabhupada somehow he could not, he was dizzy. Prabhupada somehow got up, people lifted him. And somehow they tied dhoti. Prabhupada somehow tied dhoti. Shri Krishna Balram ki jai. Radha Bharaneshwar ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. So somehow he tied dhoti and Prabhupada stood up and he and people were seeing that Prabhupada stood up. Actually, he was lying down for 2 weeks and Prabhupada suddenly stood up. And then he received the mayor and he shook hands with the mayor. Akbar Ali Khan shook hands. And then they walked and then there was a program and Akbar Ali Khan gave a lecture over there regarding industrialization and everything. And then Prabhupada was sitting and listening to the lecture. And then Prabhupada got up and Prabhupada gave a 30-minute lecture on spirituality. And then after the lecture, Prabhupada again sat down. And then there was a big feast organized for Akbar Ali Khan over there. And in the feast, Prabhupada, last 2 weeks, he was eating only 3 orange peels. And in the malaria, 104 degrees temperature, he was almost vomiting everything. But now the mayor is there, and Krishna's temple has to be built. So big feast was there, and he was served. So how can you say no in front of the mayor? So Prabhupada, for pleasing him, Prabhupada ate somehow he ate whatever food was there and had prasad. And then the mayor sat in his car, and as the car left, Prabhupada was standing, waving him by, and just as the car left, Prabhupada collapsed. So only the devotees knew what is the situation of Prabhupada. So such a person, that's why he is called a Senapati Bhakta. Why he is Senapati Bhakta? Because he has such a love for Krishna. And not only the love for Krishna, he has the love for compassion. He has the love and compassion for fallen souls like us. If Prabhupada would not have been there, then we would also have been in the dancing around in the pubs, going to the cinemas, going to all other places of tourism, and forgetting what is the purpose of life, and just let our life and eat, drink, and be merry. And one day we would have become old, and then when we see the Yamdutas, then we realize death. What they say, death or hell. Hell is the truth which is learned very late. Abhi deri ho gayi. Tomorrow is the exam. Like for example, we have children. Tomorrow exam is there. We'll tell the child, don't study the whole year. When exam comes, before that you take your book and start. So that is not possible. Will he pass? It's not possible to pass. So for us, this actually, this human life is actually the preparation time, and the death is the final examination. And when death will come, you have to be ready to pass the final exam of death. And that's what Srila Prabhupada has taught us. That's why we have to be ready every day in and day out. We remember Srila Prabhupada and follow in his footsteps and understand Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Ekeha Kurunandana, Bahushakhayanantasya, Buddhayo Avyavasayana. Though we have to be fixed and one pointed in our resolve and determination, and then only we can follow Srila Prabhupada and go back home, back to God. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gurudev Maharaj ki, Jai. Hare Krishna. So, further program. Krishna Mataji, you can play the video.